Hello, everyone. Good evening. My name is Shalaya Yazdi. I'm a public health practitioner and a Master's of Science student at Touro University. We have a lot going on right now. It could be really hard to balance our productivity, our positivity, and self-care during such difficult times. My mentor, Dr. Schubrick, and I came together to create this webinar so we can share wellness tools with each other and share it with our community. I'm really passionate about contributing to creating a healthier community, so it brings me so much joy to see everyone here tonight. Last week, we discussed nutrition and how food can influence our wellness. This week, we are incorporating mind, body, and spirit into our discussions. We started the week learning about physical activity and movement. Today, we will discuss stress management and mindfulness. We will end the week with how to optimize the mind, body, and spirit as they are all interconnected. Next week, we will be discussing chronic condition prevention, management, and awareness. Just before Thanksgiving, we will have a discussion about how to make the best of the 2020 holiday season. Our last session on November 30th will integrate all the concepts that we learned throughout the month of November from all of our amazing guest speakers and panelists. Tonight, I would like to introduce Paisley Rosengren, a licensed family therapist and a community member. I would also like to introduce Sally Kanumai, a community member and a Master's of Medical Health Science at Touro University. Thank you all for coming tonight. Let's zoom into wellness with Paisley and Sally.
Hello, everyone. I'm Paisley. Welcome. So as we start, I just want to start off and welcome everyone and let you know how very honored and grateful I am to be here today. I'm going to start off by letting everybody know that I see the world through a very specific lens, this Paisley lens that is me. And I strive to create a safe space for all of the people that are in attendance or participating or looking at the materials that I create. Sometimes I get it wrong. So if anything I say or anything I'm doing causes any harm, please let me know. That way I can learn and I can grow and I can be a better person. So, oops, having trouble advancing the slide. There we go. All right. So I'm here today to talk about stress management and mindfulness. What I'm hoping we'll get to cover today is talking a little bit about what stress is, some of the effects that stress has on our health, and then we'll segue into talking a bit about mindfulness and how to set goals and create systems of self-care. So here's a little bit more about me, some pictures of me with my beautiful husband. I'm also a registered yoga teacher, a mindfulness instructor, and a restorative justice facilitator. And the other picture are my two sons. So I have two teenage sons that, well, that's kind of their natural state right there. No shirt, hair unbrushed, and eating. That's my life right now. Plus we have two dogs. So let's start things off by kind of getting the yucky part first. What stresses you out? So take a minute and think about maybe what's stressing you out now in your life. It could be something big, it could be something small, and go ahead and put those responses in the chat. Let's see what's stressing people out today. So I'm seeing some people are concerned about COVID, other people are concerned about maybe some personal health things that they need to take care of. Yes, the political unrest. I said last week was the longest Tuesday of my life. I don't think I slept from Tuesday until sometime on Friday night. I was just so preoccupied with watching the news and not watching the news and not checking social media and checking social media. Oh, finals. Yeah, Students, now's a busy time for you. So you have all of these things, health issues, concerns about family, and also the ability to see and connect with family and see and connect with your community. I know for some people, that's a really big loss for them right now, and it's something that's stressing them out. So some of the symptoms of stress can be just that feeling of apathy, of just not really caring anymore. And sometimes you find yourself feeling angry. I know I'm one of the people that tends to have a lot of stomach problems when I'm stressed out. Also, skin irritations, headaches, anxiety. My husband's a big tooth grinder. We can always tell when he's really stressed out because his jaw really starts hurting him. So this graphic just has a lot of some of the symptoms that you might find in your body. So if you're feeling very headachy or you're noticing a lot of muscle tension, maybe it's stress. So know that everyone experiences stress. You aren't, it's something that we all share. And not all stress is bad. I mean, having a little bit of stress, that's the thing. It's, it's a biologically adaptive behavior, because having a little bit of stress is what motivates you to make some change, right? If you have some stress on you, you're going to maybe study for your exam, or you're going to go ahead and take care of that health care issue that you have. But if you have too much stress and it becomes overwhelming, or if it becomes long-term, it can certainly have some negative effects on your health. So here's the good part. There are many ways, many things that you can do to manage your stress. But I also want to give a little disclaimer here that if you notice that the stress you're experiencing is chronic, or that you're feeling overwhelmed, it's okay to go ahead and seek help from a professional. In fact, many people do, and it's really a great way to help get the support that you need to manage stress. So about 75% of all doctors' visits are for stress-related ailments and complaints. So people will come into the doctor's office, oh, I've got my back and I've got back pain, right? Sometimes it's an injury, but oftentimes it's stress, 75 to 90% of the time. 77% of people say they regularly experience symptoms caused by stress. I know I'm one of those 77%. I know for me, whenever the stomach starts going and it's feeling a little, I know that there's something going on that's stressful in my life, and I need to pivot my attention and pay some attention to this issue that's stressing me out. And I need to bring some mindfulness. I need to bring some grounding and some calming behaviors in to help deal with the stress. So in 2017, just a few years ago, people at Harvard suggested that stress could be as important a risk factor to heart attacks and strokes as smoking and high blood pressure. So reading that, I felt very distressing that stress could have as negative an impact on you as picking up cigarettes or having high blood pressure. So how does stress affect you? I've already given my confession. I'm a stressy, stomachy person. How does stress affect you? What do you notice going on inside of your body? If you feel okay, go ahead and share that out in the chat. Yeah, sleep. That's another one that I struggle with sometimes. I mean, normally it's one of the things that I really pride myself on. I'm one of the best sleepers. And I mean, if sleep were an Olympic event, I would be a gold medalist for several, Olympics running. Even when I had small babies, I mastered the art of sleeping standing up because the baby didn't want to get put down, and I figured out how I could wedge myself in the corner of the room and stand up, sleep, and hold the baby. That was my my Olympic decathlon event. Oh, I see, distracted from work, patience decreases, getting sick. That's very, very common. Oh, I see lots of headaches, anger, judgment. Wow, you all are coming up with some really, really good. Yeah, great job. Thanks for sharing those out. I know it's not always easy to kind of take a look at how stress affects us and what's going on, but when you take a moment and take a look at how it affects you, it's a hard place, but it's actually a really good place for you to get in touch with what's going on with you so that you can start making the changes that you need to make or that you'd like to make so that perhaps the stress affects you less severely. So if you happen to know that when you get stressed out, you have trouble eating, you don't want to eat, everything tastes terrible and you don't want to eat, and you are kind of going through your day and you notice this behavior, you start to notice like, I'm not really eating, I'm not wanting to do those things, then it's that time for you to stop, take a moment and reflect and go, oh yeah, I'm really worried about some exams that are coming up. So let me take a moment and see what I can do to better manage the stress I have about the exams so that I can take better care of myself. Because as we take better care of ourselves, we're better able to take care of all of those things that are perhaps stressing us out, but we're also better able to take care of the people around us. Oh, the fake hunger. Yes, that's the need for all of the cookies, and suddenly you're baking all over the place. Some people, I also had a stress response around finals where I would clean everything. That was my distraction from studying and getting to work, was I would go and suddenly I would need to clean all of these things around my house to instead of studying. So taking a look at this graphic, you see that stress can cause hair loss. It can also affect asthma, weight gain, and conversely, weight loss if you're not eating. Diabetes can raise your blood glucose levels, increasing your risk of type 2. All of the emotions can also, the emotional tension, the physical, the muscular tension can cause tension headaches, and also body aches, weird aches in your body. I told you about my husband, he carries a lot of it in his jaw, and he would have just these terrible sort of jaw headaches, and that was him grinding his teeth at night. That was stressing. It can also, heart diseases, high blood pressure, high cholesterol are risk factors of heart disease. And then just that upset stomach, that unstable gut health, right? Heartburn, IBS, they can also be the results of chronic stress. So again, that's why you want to, if you do find that you're having chronic stress or you're feeling overwhelmed with your stress, then it might be time to reach out and talk to a healthcare professional and work with them around some strategies or medication or different activities to help decrease your stress level. So now this is what I consider the fun part. So now we're going to talk about ways to manage stress. And mindfulness is one way that you can manage your stress. And I consider mindfulness to be a part of self-care, right? So some of the components, some of the elements of mindfulness are things like meditation, deep breathing, finding balance in your life, maybe spending a little bit more time and energy focused on yourself and doing self-care instead of caring so much for the people around you. Finding ways to reduce your stress, setting limits, setting boundaries with people. Also just having an awareness of what's going on around you. And then you have your body and your soul. I think of those as like your spiritual and your physical. support that you need to stay healthy and to feel balanced. Maybe through the physical, you pick up, you do a physical activity, maybe you're running, doing yoga, maybe you find a faith-based group that you find supportive, or even a support group or a Facebook group that you connect with and that resonates with you and is a place where you really feel safe and you feel comfortable and you feel at home. So mindfulness. So there's a couple of definitions for mindfulness. People often ask me, what the heck is mindfulness? I used to work with younger children, and they would tell me, when your mind is full of stuff, right? That's being mindful, which it is. But the definition we're going to go with today, or the one that I'm going to be working with today, is a mental state achieved by focusing one's awareness on the present moment while calmly acknowledging and accepting one's feelings, thoughts, and bodily sensations. And it can be used as a therapeutic technique. Does anyone have any questions or anything about that, about what mindfulness is? No? You all got it? All right.
No questions yet.
Okay. So when I think of mindful moments, I think, well, the big one that I go to is the feeling of somebody washing my hair, right? For me, there's nothing like that sensation of when you go to the salon and you sit in that, I mean, it's a marginally comfortable chair. It feels a little weird when it first goes back, but when you sit back and the technician has the water temperature not too hot, you know, they usually ask, is that too hot? Is it too cold? And that feeling of just someone gently washing your hair. It's that feeling of being cared for, the warm water. My eyes are usually closed, and there's just sort of this, you know, din of noise sort of and movement and activity happening around me. But there's something very calming and centering. You can hear it's the way I'm talking about it. There's something very calming and centering for me about it. I also think of a mindful moment as, now my kids are older, but when they were younger, it was getting into the shower and nobody needs me. That feeling when I would step into the shower and you would feel so nice and warm, and then that warm water would kind of hit the back of your head and roll down your shoulders and down your, like I could almost feel myself melting as that would happen. Some people feel these mindful moments come over them maybe when they smell cookies baking, or sometimes it's a memory from your childhood. Lots of people really connect mindfulness with moments in nature. So maybe for you, it's thinking about a moment in nature, walking along a beach, taking a nice morning hike through the mountains. But these moments are the moments where you're able to really feel grounded and feel sort of released from the stressors and the burdens of your day. In the Yoga Sutra, Patanjali describes pranayama, which is the breath, as a process by which you can break your unconscious breathing pattern and make the breath long, easeful, and smooth, right? Because the thing is, normally as we're kind of going about our day breathing, our breaths aren't like that. Our breaths are kind of short, even as I'm talking now, my breaths are kind of short and you're trying to get it in and get it out. And we do a lot of breathing in this kind of upper part of our chest and our shoulders. Sometimes we even keep our shoulders in, like that's helping us breathe. But that's a lot of tension, and it's not using the full breath. It's just using kind of, you know, a half, a third of your body to bring the air in and release it and let it go. And also the rhythm of it can be very erratic. Sometimes we're breathing very, very, very quickly, and then we'll slow it down a little bit. And so what the goal is in mindfulness or when you're doing your pranayama is to make the breath, I always call it sweet and smooth, make it nice and smooth and steady. So let's take a quick sec and check in with yourself right now and think about how you are currently feeling. So I have this battery image. So you can either put words or you can just type out the color. So if you're feeling violet or purple, that means you're feeling great right now. You're meeting your needs, you're practicing self-care. Things are kind of rolling around pretty well for you. If you're feeling the light blue color, maybe you're feeling good and you want to really maintain that. You want to stay in that sweet space. You want to stay there. Maybe you move down a little bit more and you're in the green. You're feeling okay, but it might be time, or this might be an opportunity to think about some ways that you can make your day a tiny bit better. I really like to check in on my battery at this time in the evening, like after I finished my workday, because as I go home, usually there are little niches of time that I can sneak in, things that I can do to help recharge my battery if I'm feeling a little low. Below that, we have the yellow level, which is like maybe you need a little bit more self-love. Maybe you could be a little bit extra kind to yourself. If you're feeling in the orange, you might be at a place where you need to really stop and think about what's going on, how you're feeling, what's stressing you out in your life, and what area do I need to provide a little bit of support, or maybe something I need from my community to feel more supported. And if you're down in the red, that sort of violet area, the hot pink, I'm sorry, area, maybe you're feeling kind of empty today. Maybe this is a good opportunity to pinpoint what's draining you and to try and set up a boundary or a limit and do one thing. It doesn't have to be a big thing, but maybe do one thing that helps fill you up. So if you feel okay with it, go ahead and pop into the chat which color, where you're feeling today. You can just type in the color maybe. I'm going to go ahead and let you all see too. Oh, great. Oh, thanks everyone for contributing. This is wonderful. I'm seeing lots of, what is this? Lots of blues and greens. I think I saw an orange. Really great. Yellow. And you know, it's okay, no matter what color you're feeling, it's okay to be there. And it's important to recognize where you're at so that you can make those changes. There's no need for you to be untruthful with yourself about how you're feeling to try and make other people feel better. It's important for you to put in how you feel so that you can make the changes, or you can seek out support from your community so that you can feel better. Oh my goodness. Mario's at both ends. That's great. I used to work, like, as I said, I used to work with younger students and K to 12 age students, and we would do a check-in every morning. We would do it on a scale of 1 to 10. And anybody that felt below 3, one of the things we would ask them is, what do you need from your community today so that you can be maybe a 5 or a 6? And I was always so touched and so just humbled by the things that the students would say. Sometimes students would come in and they're like, oh, I'm a 2. And we would ask, you know, what is it you need today from us? And, you know, be honest. And sometimes it would be, I didn't get to eat breakfast before I came to school. And so I really need, I need to eat. And we would provide that. And I got in an argument with my sibling today, so I'm really grouchy. I just want people to leave me alone. But it was so humbling to see how you empower yourself by actually asking for what you need. Because the funny thing is we usually feel kind of, oh, I don't want to ask anyone. It feels weird. But once you ask, it's so beautiful to see how your community responds to your needs and supports you. And the cool thing is that not only does the person who was a 2 or a 3 get lifted up to a 5 or a 6, but all of those people who were 7s and 8s maybe that reached out and helped that person, it helps lift them up too, right? Because how do we feel when we give someone else the support that they need and want, and we're able to do that? Oh, it feels amazing. It feels so good. So it's one of those things that's hard to do, but know that not only does it help you to feel better, but it also helps the person that's giving and caring for you. It helps them to feel better too. So I'm gonna ask Mario, is there anything that you need from the group today to feel better, or to feel where you might like to feel? Or is there anyone here that's feeling either an orange, a hot pink, or a yellow? Is there anything you need from the group today? All right, well, we'll wait and see if anyone comes up with anything. So for now, we're gonna try this gonna take you on a little journey. So right now, I'd like you to, wherever you are, I don't know if you're sitting, standing, lying down, what you're doing. You can be in whatever shape, position, whatever works for you. And just let yourself settle down and settle in to that shape. So if you're sitting, you're just going to sit in a comfortable way. If your legs are crossed, try uncrossing them and make both of your feet be flat on the floor. Yeah. And maybe let there be just a little bit of comfortable space between your knees. And as you're sitting, you're actually going to sit on your sit bones. So you're not going to let yourself cave in forward. You're not going to show off how straight you can sit. It's just a nice, comfortable settling into your sit bones. Maybe noticing how your shoulders are hanging out up there. Are your shoulders applying for a job as earrings? Yeah, because we don't hire shoulders for that. So they need to go down. They need to slide down and back, down your back. And give that chin just a little tiny lift, just a little bit up in the air. Sort of like how this gentleman is in this picture. And then just take a moment and notice your breath. Not with any judgment, not trying, oh, that was a slow one. I gotta breathe that. I gotta breathe. Just notice your breath. Notice how it feels as it moves into and slide out of your body. Maybe as you kind of turn your attention inward on your breath, maybe you even notice how your heart is beating. Or maybe you notice that you feel a little wiggly and you're not quite ready to be still. If it feels right for you, go ahead. Take a little time to resettle. Go ahead and give it a little wiggle, a little shake, a little adjustment, and land again. Land again in your seated position. And once you've landed and you feel comfortable, go ahead, turn your attention back in and notice your breath. Together, let's take a nice deep inhale in through the nose. And then let it out through your mouth. One more time. Nice deep inhale in through the nose, filling up. And then exhale, making an audible ah sound as you let it out. Kind of like on those sugary soda commercials. You know, they pay these people lots of money just to make that noise as they take in that drink. They take a big drink and then they right? So that way you know it's a good drink, right? So again, try that on your breath. Try that as you breathe in. And release with an audible ah. This time, as you breathe in through your nose, be mindful of the breath as it travels into your body. Notice the breath as it comes in through your nose, down through the sinus cavities, down through the neck, and as it fills your chest. But then go ahead and let's see if you can let that breath fill your belly. Have you ever seen a baby breathe and you see that little belly going in and out and in and out? Yeah. Go ahead and let your breath fill up the belly and then audibly let it out. Let's do this one together. In through the nose, filling sinus cavity, neck, upper part of the chest, middle part of the chest, and then down through the belly, filling the belly. And then like a bellow, go ahead and push it out audibly. Really nice.
Okay, so
now
we do have our first question.
Oh, okay. So go ahead and stay in with your breath. Let's hear this first question.
So this person wants to know, what recommendations do you have for dealing with environmental stressors that are outside of your control?
So things that are outside of your control, one of the first things to do is to pay attention to noticing that it is outside of your control and being accepting of that, and then finding things that are within your control and creating some boundaries and limits around those that perhaps help protect you from the external stressor. All right, so continuing with your breath, let's inhale for a count of 4, 3, 2, 1. We'll pause 1, 2, and then exhale for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and pause 1, 2. Let's do that one more time. Inhaling for a count of 4, 3, 2, 1. Pausing 1, 2, and then exhaling 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pausing 1, 2, and then return to your natural breath. Now, let's check in. Did anybody notice any change to how they're feeling inside their body? Sometimes even just doing a simple mindfulness activity like doing a 4-2-6-2 breath exercise can help you feel a little bit calmer, a little bit more at ease, and a little bit more control of what's going on with you. I know for myself, with the 2 teenagers and the eye rolls and the mom, I know that I often take a moment and I just lean my head back against the wall and I just breathe 4, 2, 6, 2. And then I try to come back and talk to them about whatever it is that we're discussing, because I call it taking the edge off. It just helps calm me and ground me and center me a little bit more. So there are many resources out there, and they're just as simple as an app if you'd like to start a mindfulness meditation practice. So one of the ones that I love is Calm, because I have it set up so it reminds me during the day to take breaths. And I really appreciate those reminders, especially during my work day, because I can often sort of get consumed with what's going on at work. And I'm really not even aware of the fact that the shoulders are up and I'm getting a little tense. And then my app will ping and it'll say, oh, take 2 deep breaths. And that just helps resettle me and recenter me. So Calm is one of the, and I'm not a paid or endorser of Calm or anything. I just like it. The other one that I really like that helps me whenever I feel like I get out of my mindfulness practice, when things happen and I find myself getting off of my meditative practice, I always go back to Headspace. That's one of my favorites. So someone was asking about how external stressors, how you can what you can do for yourself when there are things outside of your control. So things outside of my control will be happening and I will be getting really stressed out. I remember at the beginning of COVID when there were all of these questions. Was I going to be home for 2 weeks? Was I going to be home for 6 weeks? When are we going back to work? How am I going to work from the office? What am I going to do with all these kids here? It was like, and all of those things were completely out of my control. I bounced right back into Headspace. And because I knew doing that, it was something that would calm me, it would ground me and help me to stay in a good space moving forward. So I'm going to talk a little bit about self-care now. And these are some of the things that you can do, again, when you have stressors that are beyond your control, stressors that are within your control. Self-care and developing a self-care practice is something that can be very helpful. So this is in your Zoom into, well, I'm not sure that's gonna work, into your Zoom into Wellness workbook. I take you through the steps for how to kind of develop a nice self-care plan. Because before I had a strong mindfulness practice, what I would typically do is tell myself, I'm going to eat healthier, right? I'd set a goal, I'm going to eat healthier. But the problem was I wouldn't have a system in place. So I would tell myself I'm going to eat healthy food, but then I wouldn't really have a system for how to do that. So I felt like things were kind of all over the place. Sometimes I'd eat healthy. Sometimes I was at the drive-through. Sometimes I just wasn't eating. There wasn't a real plan for how to be successful. So what we walk through in this workbook is how to create systems and how to have accountability so that you are able to have these goals of healthy food, but you also have a system so that it works. So like I say, the first goal is, eating healthy food, right? But the system is, well, first I'm going to find some recipes for healthy meals, and then I'm going to go shopping, and every Sunday I'm going to do my food prep. And then since I've done the food prep, I'll have food to eat. So that'll help me eat the meals all week. And if I do a week of eating healthy food, then I have a guilt-free 30-minute TikTok binge because I love TikTok. I can't get enough of TikTok. So for me, that would be, it's a system, there's accountability, and I have a reward set in it, right? So let's take a look at this a little closer. So in your workbook, I break it down like this. So you start off doing a self-care assessment. This is where you look at what you do to take care of yourself. You rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 5. And I also put in there, so there's a million different self-care wheels. I happen to find this one and I like this one. If you don't like it, please find one that resonates with you, but it helps me to see the different components of self-care. There's physical, there's emotional, there's spiritual, and it helps you look at all of the different types of self-care. And it also looks at some of the components, some of the activities and behaviors that you can do to help support that element of self-care. And then we go on to goal setting and creating system of support. So we look at the workbook and then we kind of unpack the results, right? We look at how how our self-care, are there certain patterns that we're seeing? Do we feel that that says something about me? Do I have areas where I'm really strong and areas where I need some work? And just kind of looking at that. Then from there, we decide where to focus our energy, right? And I set it up that you could do it for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. You pick the number of days, because this is an offering to you. So you do what works best for you in this. And then we talk about building the system for achieving the goals, making your self-care plan, a little bit about mindfulness, and some of your apps and other resources. So a little bit about systems. So systems provide small and consistent wins. And the nice thing, in some systems, the wins are personal. You just do these things. And sometimes they're also group wins when you have a buddy, an accountability buddy, and they can help you with a win. And also systems are continuous. It keeps going. Like once I got my 30 minutes of TikTok, I'm back in it again on on Sunday, creating my meal plans. Then I go to the grocery store, then I do my food prep, right? So it keeps going. These systems also, they build time in your schedule so that you know when to do the things. It also has supports as a part of it. There are usually tools in your system, resources, accountability, so that you're able to overcome obstacles to you achieving the goal that you want to achieve. So one of the areas in the workbook, I have accountability and support. And in that bit, I ask you to talk to a partner or talk to some people around you and ask them for their input. And know your audience. Make sure that you're going to people that are supportive, that are positive, and that help fill you up. Not people that are going to be pulling you down. Maybe you have a friend who also wants to start doing yoga. So maybe that's a goal that you all could work on together, and you could develop a system together where this night we're going to do this together, and then we'll check in on this day and see how it's going, look at our success, look at where we need more work, and develop new systems to make us be more successful. Then we go into making your own personal self-care plan. And then as we move through the workbook, I also give you some strategies for getting started with a mindfulness practice. I talk a little bit about meditation, the breath, and I also give you, I think I give you at least 5. I give you 7 breathing activities. So that way you can pick what works well for you. Like I said, for me, I really like the 4-2-6-2 strategy for calming myself, and that's my go-to breathing technique. One of the ones I used to do often was I would hold up your hand, and every time you get to the top of a finger, you breathe in. And then when you get to the bottom, you breathe out, breathe in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out. If you don't feel calmer then you go the other way around. And that's a great way to just, again, make yourself feel more grounded and do a little self-soothing and calm yourself down. So know that doing self-care, mindfulness, they aren't selfish. And that's why I encourage you to find people that support you around these new practices. It's about considering your needs and also knowing that when we take care of ourselves, we're better able to take care of the people around us. When I think about it, I always think about when when I got on an airplane the first time, and I remember the flight attendant said, and parents, put your mask on first and then put it on your child. And at the time I was a child and I thought, well, that's selfish. They're like, oh, they're going to live and they're going to leave me to fly, right? But now I understand. If my parent didn't have air, oxygen to care for themselves, then who would there be to take care of me? No one. So that's why it's important for you to put your mask on, to take care of yourself first, so that you can take better care of the people around you. And then we have the little, you can't pour from an empty cup.
We actually do have one question regarding helping each other.
Super.
This person asked, how can you help someone you notice is stressed?
I'm sorry, say that again.
How can you help someone that you notice is stressed?
That's a really good question. So, I mean, it depends on the person, right? So hopefully you have enough rapport with this person that you can go into this kind of perhaps a touchy area. One of the things that I sometimes do, so I have two teenagers, and I know better than to walk up to them and go, what's wrong with you, right? And conversation over, right? So what I might say is, I'm noticing that you're smashing the glasses in the sink as you're supposed to be washing them. And I'm just wondering if there's anything that I can do to help support you around this, right? And sometimes when you ask it as a question, it can help open up the conversation. Another thing, if like maybe it's a fellow student and you're both, and you notice that one of your classmates is really, really stressed out, sometimes confessing your feelings of maybe fear of failure, or your feelings of not being prepared, or just admitting, gosh, I think I'm feeling kind of stressed out for this exam coming up. How are you dealing with it, right? And kind of checking in with them and seeing how they're doing. If you'd like, you can always email me or contact me and we can talk more if you have a very specific case that you wanted to get some support around supporting someone else. But oftentimes asking a question that's not, what's wrong with you, or you don't seem right, but noticing maybe talking about their behaviors that you're noticing that seem different. Maybe someone who used to spend a lot of free time with you hasn't been coming around as much, and you notice, I noticed you haven't been coming around as much as you used to. I miss you, and I'd like you to know I'm here if you want to talk, right? So those might be some ways that you could help engage someone in a conversation about stress. All right. So that's about it. I'm really grateful for everything that you all are doing to take care of yourselves. That's a lot of hard work. It's not easy. It's rewarding, but it can be a big shift. It can be a big shift, and I just want to acknowledge that and know that I'm really grateful for you all coming today. I'm grateful for you all taking the time to take care of yourself. I also want to thank Sally, Dr. Shubrook, and Shalaya for having me here today to talk to you all about mindfulness and stress reduction. So that's it for me. Let's all support each other and just lift each other up.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much,
everyone.
Paisley. What a wonderful I discussion. And I just need you by my side all day long, if you don't mind.
Anytime. Just contact me.
So we do have a couple minutes, and I want to make sure that, we have a nice audience here. If there's anything that you want to ask, this is a great time to get your burning questions asked. There is, as you hopefully have noticed this past hour, this is a safe zone, and we'd be happy to take any question you want. And we will be posting into the website both the recording of this, but also the workbook. And so we will have that available. And while people are getting up their questions, I will also put in the chat that we will continue to offer a flu vaccine clinic. And so around the county, we're offering free flu vaccines. This is a very important time. If you haven't noticed, COVID is on the rise again, and so is influenza. And it's really important for you to know that as a healthcare provider, I am super nervous when you come and I don't know what you have. And the last thing you want is a delay in your care when one of those illnesses is largely preventable with a vaccine, and both are preventable with just careful hand washing, masking, and physical distancing. So are there any burning questions from the group? I always have questions, so if they don't, I will. Here's a question coming in.
We do have one question. So this person asks, are you actively providing counseling? If so, how would we get in contact with you?
So did my husband put you all up to this? My husband loves when I have my private practice going, but currently I don't have my private practice, but I encourage you to go on Psychology Today. They have a wonderful website and a wonderful group of therapists, licensed clinical social workers, and psychologists, most of whom are now providing telemedicine. So you could see someone who's maybe in Southern California and someone that can be a really good fit for you culturally, emotionally, spiritually. So I encourage you to reach out.
And with that question in mind, I would also add, not everybody here has diabetes, but there is a diabetes focus to a lot of the things we do. And the American Diabetes Association has a national website of mental health providers who have expertise in diabetes. And so if you have something that's related to diabetes, maybe diabetes distress, or it's a complicating factor, there are trained professionals that can help you with that background knowledge as well. There's the link. Thank you. So I guess one of the things that I find a challenge for me is I feel like I have a pretty good handle on some skills I could use, techniques I could use, but I never think about them when I'm stressed. And so, you know, how do you check in with yourself before you're at full tilt? How do you find a way to engage earlier?
One of the things I do is I have little mindfulness and self-care things that I do throughout the day. So one of the things I do is we have a lot of Zooms right now. And whenever possible, I make sure that I go outside and I connect to something in nature between every single Zoom. So my kids and husband make fun of me, but they're like, she's outside staring at a tree again. But that's what I do. I go outside and I'll like lay down next to a tree and I'll look up at the tree and look up at the blue sky, and that brings things down. And the more calm my mind is, the better able it is to go, hey, you're getting triggered right now. You're upset, you're stressed out, you're whatever is happening, so that I'm able to access some of my resources for calming. So if we let ourselves keep, you go to the first meeting and you get activated and you move up here, then you go to the second one and now you're up here, and then you're right. And so it just keeps going up and up and up, and you don't even realize you've been triggered until things are happening. But if you can keep yourself at a nice low level, that helps a lot. Between clients, I wasn't able to go outside and stare at a tree, but when I had my private practice, I would try to do a little bit of yoga. Again, with the breath, it would calm me down, and I would consider it freshening myself up for my next client, because I didn't want to bring the energy from the one session into the next session and into the next, because that poor person that saw me at 5 o'clock, there's a lot of buildup there. Right? So I wanted to try to be as fresh as possible in between.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
So I do want to let everyone know we thank you for your coming tonight. We want you to know that we are here for you and we are here with you. You are not alone. It often feels like we're alone in these Zoom worlds and when we're stuck at home, but we're here to do it together and we're here to be a support. Please remember to participate in your community in any way that you're comfortable. And remember that we can have an online community and we'll get back to some normalcy. I don't know when, but soon. And we will continue to offer programs throughout the month. And please go to the MOBIC website where we have physical activity demonstrations, cooking demonstrations, just good information about your health. And like I said, we really appreciate your participation tonight. And we hope to see you tomorrow night for Zoom into Wellness, where we have an osteopathic physician talking about mind, body, and spirit. Thank you again and have a great night.